Hi, my name is Laila El Haddad, author of Gaza Mom, Palestine, Politics, Parenting, and Everything in Between. My book, Gaza Mom, is largely based on this blog that I have kept for 6 years, and it covers many of the very important events that took place in Gaza over that period that I covered for news outlets like Al Jazeera and The Guardian, including the Palestinian elections, including the Israeli disengagement from Gaza, including the siege that was slapped on Gaza after the elections, and so forth. It's a self-curated compilation of articles that I've written as well as my blog entries. And it includes something that's different from my blog, is that it includes introductions to give the reader sort of a context and a sense for the different periods that are being covered in each section. Well, my blog largely came about by happenstance. It started mainly as a way to keep my husband abreast of the developments of our young son, Yusuf, who was 9 months old, during this period when I was commuting between Gaza and the United States. And he was seeing, Yassine, my husband, was seeing very little of Yusuf. And so it started at the suggestion of a tech-savvy cousin of mine who said, well, why don't you just start a blog and then just, it can be strictly about raising your son. So I called it Raising Yusuf, not intending at all for it to be kind of a political blog or anything like that. And then, on my return trip to Gaza, my son Yusuf and I actually got stuck in Cairo for what would end up being 55 days. And that was because the Israelis had shut down the Rafah crossing, the only border crossing into Gaza. What ended up happening was I began to blog about our stay in Cairo, and gradually the very family-oriented blog turned into a politically oriented one, or I should say the political and the personal merged, and that was kind of the beginning of what would eventually turn into my Gaza Mom blog, initially called Raising Yusuf, a Mother from Gaza, turned into Gaza Mom. There's a lot of overriding themes in the book, and they have largely to do with dispossession, with identity, with occupation, but in the end of the day, I'd like to think it's essentially a book about humanity, about a Palestinian woman, a Palestinian mother from Gaza, trying to raise her child, trying to live, trying to raise a family under the conditions of occupation. And really it just, again, shows the basic humanity of the situation, that Palestinians, in essence, don't want anything very different than what Americans want. They want their freedom, they want to be able to raise their families in peace, they want to be able to educate their children, and so on and so forth. And that's really kind of the core of the book and the core of the blog. I kind of always approach people with the mindset of, okay, they probably don't know very much about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, and I always try to start from kind of the very basic, ABCs, and that's where a book like Gaza Mom can help in really personalizing the conflict, reducing it to these very human terms, reducing the scale of the conflict, if you will, so that you can understand not what the Gaza Strip's geopolitical status is or, how long it's been occupied, but why a mother in Gaza might need to breastfeed for 2 years because there's not going to be a consistent supply of formula because of the continual Israeli closures of Gaza. Why a Palestinian mother can't live with her own husband, can't raise her own family in Gaza, even though that's where she's from. Why a Palestinian student can't continue his education, even though he's been accepted, by the most prestigious universities outside. Why a Palestinian grandmother can't get treatment for her cancer, even though the borders are right there, the hospital is close enough. So these are the kinds of things that you won't get from the mainstream media.